So TwitchCon was this weekend, and although we don't do the Twitch stuff, a good party's a good party.
Yeah.
Hello, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I am Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is episode 47 of the Pop Culture Cult.
We're getting up there.
Next week is our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, but not our 52nd episode.
We went to Vegas a couple times in there, and
all right.
we might have slept in a couple of times. And so what we are asking between this week and next week is if you are watching this video, we would like you to share it with all of your friends. We are trying our best to expand our brand as far and wide as we can to all corners of the earth and beyond. And so please, when you watch this video to celebrate our 1-year anniversary for the next week, please, anything that we post, please share it. Anything we post on the Facebook page or Instagram or Twitter, our videos here, or if you have something, please share it with all of your friends and see if we can double our numbers in a week.
Because now we're besties with Mark Hamill.
We are besties with Mark Hamill. All right, I'll tell that story. Okay. But we have some stuff we want to go over this week. I'll tell that story in a second. We're talking about some movies we saw and some trailer reactions that we had. And then some movie and TV news going on. Not much on the con circuit. The con circuit's kind of getting done for the year.
Yeah, for the holidays,
For the holidays. Yeah. And I'm listening to, from a certain point of view, the 40 stories for the 40th anniversary.
Right.
I have questions. Anyways, so our quick story about Mark Hamill. He posted to Twitter on Sunday just pretty much being full Mark Hamill.
He posted a picture of the Luke head in the
Vader mask from Empire Strikes Back, and with all these like, is Luke a Dark Jedi? Is he
foreshadowing?
Is this foreshadowing? Like question mark, fucking trolling. He's just fucking trolling. So I get on Twitter and I put on there at Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is a national treasure, and then I can't remember.
With a GIF of from National Treasure, well, not necessarily from National Treasure, but with what's his face from National Treasure?
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, yeah, going.
So I'm like, oh, it's funny. I got a couple of likes on it, whatever, and then my phone goes off. What's that? And I look down. Oh, somebody else liked the on like because it was a reply on Mark Hamill's post, and I look down and Mark Hamill liked my post. I can die happy now.
he may have squeed and fangirled for 20 minutes.
We are 1 degree to Mark Hamill.
We are.
Now please come to Phoenix Comic Con so I can tell you that story.
Okay.
All right. So I'm excited. It's dumb. So we went last. So we got the movie pass, the $10 a month subscription, and you can go see one movie a day every day of the month. And for $10, we're like, let's see what it's like.
We finally got them.
We finally got them after 7 weeks of waiting because there was some kind of weird rush.
Yeah, I can't imagine because they went from $39 a month to $9.99 a month.
Yeah. And so we're like, if we're going to spend the $10 a month, we're going to have to make it worth it. And so we're going to be able to see a bunch of these movies that we haven't been able, that we wouldn't normally go see because at least for the movie going process in the theater, for us, we want to see big, spectacular popcorn movies.
Yeah, we're not independently wealthy, so we can't dish out $12, well, $25 for both of us to go see a movie a couple times a week.
Yeah.
So we have to pick and choose.
And so that's why we want more followers so we can have more money coming. Never mind. But so for $20 a month, we'll give it a shot. Let's see what it's like. And so far, we've had one really good experience, one really bad experience. We're going to try it again tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to see tomorrow, but anyways, we'll just pick something because there's 40 movies out right now that I want to see.
Yep.
So last Tuesday, we used our movie pass and we went and saw The Foreigner with Jackie Chan and Pierce Bronson. and this movie has been kind of promoted as Jackie Chan coming back to the United States and being a movie star in the United States again. And he's been doing a lot of stuff in China, but he hasn't been doing much here in the States. Except this movie isn't in the States.
Right. It's in Ireland.
It's in Ireland and London, and it's a couple of Chinese distributors and a couple of European distributors, and I think one American distributor, a production company actually to do it here, produce it here in the States. But it was not what I was expecting.
No, it was good. It was not your normal Jackie Chan movie that we're used to, right?
Right.
It wasn't. Was it Rush Hour that he did?
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2. Wasn't silly by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I mean, it was, Taken, Jackie Chan style. I did.
Yeah, it kind of had that feel to it. Yeah.
I did notice because he is obviously older, right? We have
65, I think is what they said.
Yeah, and we haven't seen him in movies in a really long time. He's still been doing movies in China, and he's been doing a lot of working with actors on their martial arts.
Right.
But we haven't seen him, and so one of the things I really paid attention to was his stunts, because he has, for the most part, almost always done his own stuff.
Yes.
And there was a couple of times where I could tell it wasn't him. But there was still a lot of fight scene. The one where spoilers, I don't know.
I have the spoilers.
I don't know. This is a spoiler, but he makes an escape down a drain pipe.
Yeah.
And that was not him. And that could have been for insurance purposes, as well as
normally that shot would have been from an outside angle, and you could see actually his face and stuff like that.
But it was
this
kind
was
of
from
down.
as he was spinning around. I have no problem with that being a stunt guy. I have no problem with that shot being a stunt guy.
It was a morbid curiosity as how much he could still do.
He's outside of the Jackie Chan-ness, if that's actually a thing. He's actually really good in it. He the trailers, it's not a spoiler, in the trailers his daughter dies from IRA bombing in London, and he kind of goes on this rampage trying to find who the guys were of the IRA to take care of them.
Yeah.
And so you actually feel how he feels by the way he doesn't have a ton of lines. I mean, he's not like this. He was very expressive, and I love actors who are able to express their emotion without using words and just use their facial expressions and how they kind of sit and move and stuff like that.
Well, and you can tell. I mean, English is not. It may not even be his second language, right? He doesn't speak English on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because he lives in China. So, and you can tell.
Yeah.
But I know one of the things we kind of talked about for me, like I was like, are they gonna do the nobody will help him, his daughter's dead, and now he's got to go off and kind of be the lone guy to get her justice or whatever. And that's not what it was. I mean, everybody was trying to help him. They just weren't helping him at the speed with which he wanted them to do it, because this is the IRA and London, and it was their terrorists task force, essentially. These people are badass.
Those guys and have zero patience for any bullshit.
Yeah, they don't.
At least within this movie. I don't know if that's what it's like in real life, but I'd be really happy if that's how they are in real life.
Yeah, because you expect, London cops, English cops, they're always talking about how they don't carry guns, they carry billy clubs and, and that stuff. And it's always kind of a joke, about how do you get anything done if you're not carrying a gun. And these people carried some guns and they didn't care.
A couple of things that kind of got me off my game a little bit. Pierce Brosnan's Irish accent starts off really good and kind of gets lost at times. And I don't know if he's really Irish.
I don't think so.
But
I think
it's really good at times.
English.
And there's a couple times where it's lost its snappiness. I mean, there's a thing about an Irish accent that it's very kind of, I'm gonna say rough, but it's there, and he's there for a while, and then sometimes it's not. And then the farmhouse. This is just totally stupid thing. It's the same farmhouse from Children of Men.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's this. It was shot from the same angle. It was the same drive. I wanted to lean over and say something to you during the movie, but I was kind of sucked in. But it's the same exact house from. They use multiple movies use the same set all the time. They do the freaking castle, Xavier's School of Witchcraft, is freaking the McQueen Mansion. It's I just watched the episode of Supernatural where they used it. It's the castle in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
But it's all shot from different angles and stuff like that. So it was one of those things that kind of took me out of it. But overall, I thought the movie was actually it was good. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
Score?
6.5?
That's where I was at. All right.
Okay.
We've had a week, so why did it take you so long to think?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Well, we've done some other things since then. It's not. I don't know that I'd buy it if it came on. I might stop and watch it.
If it was on HBO, I would totally watch it again.
Yeah.
Or if it's on Netflix or something like that. But I wasn't upset. We went and saw it, and I was really, really pleased with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. And now we're not going to talk. Now we're going to talk about something we weren't pleased with. Hold on, I got a drink. Okay. So, Friday, we decided to go get drunk and watch a movie. And my movie pass was not working on my app. I finally get the message back this morning that I sent from their customer service.
The only way you can contact them is through a chat.
Yeah.
So he chatted them on Friday, and it's Monday. And they finally responded.
I got to find the receipt and the ticket and stuff. But anyways, that's a different story for a different time. But we went and saw Geostorm. Now, I'm going to preface what I'm going to say about Geostorm with the understanding that we really like Dean Devlin. Dean Devlin wrote and directed this movie. He did Leverage. He does The Librarians. It's two of our favorite shows of all time. He wrote the original Independence Day. And then he wrote the second, the Resurgence one, which apparently is a dumpster fire too.
Yeah.
And it's got Gerard Butler in it. It's got Jim Sturgis in it. It's got Abby Cornish in it. It's got Ed Harris in it. And Andy Garcia is in it. And it's a disaster movie, and we love disaster movies. And we were going in hoping that it was as good as, slightly better than 2012. We both really like The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even though there's some CG issues in there, but the story itself is really kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
and I almost always will stop and watch it if it's on TV.
Always. And so it's a weather movie. This was a weather movie. I was thinking Day After Tomorrow, that kind of thing. Wholly lost in translation. It
didn't know what it wanted to be when it grew up.
No. No. And it was so jumbled, and it was so discoordinated, and there was 8 plot lines or 7 plot lines.
Yeah.
And
not a whole lot of actual disaster. That's what it's morbid, I know, but that's what I like about disaster movies is the disaster part. And you see it in the trailers. I don't know if you see it in the commercials. I don't know that I've seen a commercial for it, but all the skyscrapers kind of fallen like dominoes. And I remember before we went thinking, I want to know what happens to cause that, right? Because you kind of think maybe that could happen with a big enough earthquake or a big enough tsunami. What happens is dumb.
Yeah, it just
it's like, I don't buy that caused that at all.
There's a freak ice storm in Rio, and it instantly freezes everybody on the beach.
I don't even know that that's possible.
Well, that's kind of one of the things they talk about in Day After Tomorrow, but
it's not instant.
Those were giant, like hurricane level size storms. And in the universe,
I guess the helicopter one is.
So in the universe in which they had set up in that movie, that made sense. And some of the stuff they set up in this universe makes sense. and they followed that that game plan throughout the movie, except the problem is that it was so disjointed in everything else it was doing that you got lost in. You're trying to figure out 3 scenes ago, and now all of a sudden people are freezing to death on the coast of Rio de Janeiro, and you're like, that's not possible.
Yeah.
If you'd stay with one storyline or 2 storylines and had that stay consistent, then you could have suspended disbelief long enough to go, oh, okay, yeah, they just showed a village in Afghanistan that had just the whole village had frozen over.
And I didn't feel anything for any of the characters. I was like, you two aren't, Gerard Butler and Jim Sturgis are brothers. I didn't believe that.
Amy Cornish is she's Secret Service. She's the coolest thing in the whole movie.
Is she the hacker?
No, she's the that's Beats.
Oh yeah, she's
Domino.
Domino,
She's the hacker. No, she was the blonde Secret Service chick who was.
Oh yeah.
She was awesome.
Sturgis's girlfriend, fiance, whatever. Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah, but I didn't believe that she was Secret Service.
I'm not saying that, but she was cool as a character. I liked her character, her frankness, her. I'm in my job right now. We can't be really talking to each other. I like that
Andy
part.
Garcia was awesome. The whole "you need to marry her" comment, that's in the trailer, so that's not really a spoiler. The Gerard Butler and his relationship with his daughter and his, I guess, ex-wife who shows up for a hot second.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't care about this relationship or what's happened. I didn't. There was no emotional connection for me to anybody. You could all die. I don't care.
Yeah,
whatever.
And then Ed Harris shows up, and she leans over. I'm like, Ed Harris has been on the screen for 12 seconds. My wife leans over and goes, "He's the bad guy."
I never trust Ed Harris. He's always the bad guy. Always.
If you've seen The Rock, you've seen every character Ed Harris has ever played.
Yeah,
he's the bad guy in The Rock. And that's the same exact character he plays the whole time.
Yeah.
So
he's always the bad guy.
The CGI is pretty damn good. All the space stuff is pretty cool.
The space stuff was cool.
The universe in which they set up was really good, but it just was jumbled and had too many parts and too many parts that were moving, and they trying to
politics
connect with
and environment and this
and
estranged relationship with his daughter and his estranged relationship with his brother, and
it's just like, pick one or maybe 2 things and make that the story, and then kind of go off of that. And so overall, I had fun at the bar.
I mean, there were some parts where I laughed. I don't know that I give it. I think I gave The Circle a 2.5.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
See, I'm thinking 5, based purely on how cool the idea of the universe is, of what they set up.
Yeah.
A giant satellite that actually controls the weather. It just, considering how bad the weather has been this summer and stuff. But
timely?
Okay, I'll do 4.5 just because,
I laughed at a couple things.
Yeah.
The space stuff was cool. That's why I'm giving it more than, I would rather gouge my eyes out with pencils than watch The Circle again. So this is slightly better than that.
This would be something that's on TNT, and I'd flip through, and if it's in one of those cool parts, I would stop and watch that part.
Yeah, or
That's
if we're
about
doing
it.
something else and it's background noise, maybe.
And there's not Star Wars already on.
Yeah, there's so much other stuff I'd rather watch.
But one of the things that happened with because of Geostorm is it actually did $13.3 million this weekend here in the States. And worldwide, it did $63 million for Geostorm.
Wow.
Now, their budget was 120, and they had a whole bunch. They had the rumor was $20 million in reshoots and and a whole
it was supposed to come out like last year.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of different problems with it. So they may make their money back on that. The movie that actually won the weekend though was Boo, Tyler Perry's Pooh 2, Boo, Medea's
The Medea Halloween
thingy, whatever.
Boo 2.
It made $21.65 million. I think it was made for like $5.
Yeah, most of Tyler Perry's movies
They
are.
always open at $20 million. They always end up making 70, 80, 90 million dollars.
Yeah.
He's made $800 million in all of these Medea movies. If you're a studio, you're signing him to do whatever. There's an audience for it. We are not that audience, but there's an audience for it. So I don't understand.
Go you.
Go you. Happy Death Day made $9.3 million. It's made 53 worldwide. That's really good. Again, in a movie that was made for like $30 million, and so not really much to it.
Yeah.
Blade Runner. What is wrong with you people?
Go see this movie.
What is wrong with you people? I don't understand. Like, people bitch that there's no good movies out anymore. I know it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. You can get up and go pee and come back. It's okay. I do it all the fucking time.
And this is a slower moving movie. You're not going to miss a major plot point.
Right.
You run out to the bathroom
You
real
can
quick.
figure out when they're doing, world building, and you can wander off to the bathroom. The AMC that we go to, it's a 2-story theater. You walk out the side door on the second story, and there's a bathroom right there. You come back, you miss like 30 seconds.
Yep.
Okay, so it's an amazing, amazing movie. I'm not going to yell at you for how you spend your money, but come on. Stop bitching about there being no good movies out. Fucking Geostorm and Snowman were out this weekend, and you went and spent money on that and not seeing Blade Runner. It made $7 million this weekend. It's only made $74 million here in the States, which I just don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. It's made $194 million. It's made its budgets back. It's
all right.
It's gonna make a little bit of money.
I think it might make some in DVD sales because people will buy it, right? The people that Blade Runner-ophiles, the people that were into I made up a word.
It's all right.
The people that were into the original, will buy it. I'm pretty sure we're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of rentals, right? Redbox and Amazon and stuff.
Once this goes to the rental market and the DVD market, and people can stay at home and spend the time and actually ingest it, they will come around and realize how fucking amazing this movie is.
And that's what happened with the original. It really wasn't a big deal when it came out. It was very odd
too to finally get the movie out the way Ridley Scott wanted to do it.
Right. It was an odd movie, but the more you watched it, the better it got.
Yeah.
And so
maybe we'll see that tomorrow. Although
there's so much other
stuff for that we are interested in seeing. But and then It Controls the World. $651 million worldwide. A horror film has made $650 million worldwide, like 350 of it in the States. And it's still in the theater, and it's still kicking ass.
I hope Stephen King got paid, finally.
If he was smart, he got residuals in the back end.
Yeah.
So, the untitled Han Solo standalone movie finished...
is still untitled as far as I'm concerned.
Wrapped up filming last week, and Ron Howard went to Instagram and Twitter and stuff and said, "Hey, we're done. Can I show him what the name of the movie is?" And he came out and
Chewie brought him a sign,
and it says Solo, a Star Wars movie.
Wah wah.
I understand why it's called Solo.
I've been thinking about it, and I think even Han Solo, a Star Wars story, would have been better. It's just so Solo.
It could mean so much, though. Is it meaning he's a solo guy, and then he finds Chewie, and they become their friendship? Do we get Solo's marriage? It happens in the comics. Do we get that in the movie? Is he a lone wolf in the universe? It means so many different things, but I agree. It's growing on me. But it's not. The title is not for us. We know the Han Solo movie is coming out. We're I'm trying to buy tickets now. It doesn't come out till May. We're going to go see it on opening night and opening weekend and probably 17 times in the theater. But there's people out there who don't even know that this movie is coming out, and they think it's a sequel to A Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. People didn't understand that Rogue One was not a sequel to A Force Awakens. So
but wouldn't Han Solo, A Star Wars Story, have made it less confusing with all the Star Wars names are running in my head. The last one to come out that was A Star Wars Story.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. There we go. Because like Solo, A Star Wars Story, now people are going to think that it's a sequel to Rogue One.
Rogue One. And there's a little
even
bit
though,
of that. Yeah, but
spoiler, everybody died.
Yeah. No, if you understand anything in the Star Wars universe, you knew they were all going to die. Lucasfilm and Disney have been talking about these one-off movies kind of being marketed as one-offs. And if you're going to make those one-off movies, you need to make them understand that they're still within the Star Wars universe and still canon. So, although Star Wars: The Last Jedi, we all know that's in the main story arc. A Star Wars story is at least a way of differentiating between the main storyline, the Skywalker saga. There you go, Perry. Sagwa. The Skywalker saga is different. It just makes it different. Kenobi will be Kenobi, a Star Wars story. That's what it's gonna be, and it's gonna be Fett, a Star Wars story. That's what it's gonna be. We don't have to like it. The movie's gonna be all right, but and it took them. They said when they started reshoots with Ron Howard. They said we're gonna have 3 weeks and we're gonna get it all wrapped up, and then 7 weeks later we're done. And unfortunately, with the reshoots, they had to take a couple of characters out and they had to bring some new characters in and stuff. But I'm feeling.
I'm not really worried about it. I mean, it's Kathleen Kennedy. She's not going to let a crappy movie come out. She's just not going to.
Right.
And you can feel however you want to about Rogue One or about 1, 2, and 3, even though they're important and a little tough to watch in places. But I think watching the Ewoks is tough too. So this
is a major step in our relationship. It's okay. The Ewoks are all right.
No, they're not.
I almost got her there.
I hate that entire movie. It's just Jim Henson and Steven Spielberg sitting around smoking doobies, playing with puppets. I like the story. I just don't. Yeah.
You want your soapbox?
And Last Starfighter is not.
Oh my God, we're not
movie.
getting into that. Nope. Shut your dirty whore mouth. We will not get into that.
And professionals should not be in the Olympics. These are the things we fight about.
You can get out. We're moving on. So, with the Pacific Rim trailer that came out and the movie coming out after the first of the year, there's been the start of the marketing campaign for the movie. And the director, Stephen DeKnight, has been out doing some promotion and stuff, and he sat down with Steve Frosty Weintraub from Collider. Frosty is amazing, and he's also really good at getting information without really like trying to push and prod and stuff like that. And so Frosty was sitting down with Stephen DeKnight, the director of Pacific Rim Uprising, and in that conversation, Stephen talked about a possible crossover between Pacific Rim and the Godzilla Kong Monsterverse.
And my husband went, yes!
Now, I've been asking for what I would love to see is the Jaegers, Godzilla, Kong, all together in a line, going against the kaiju. And in the fucking, if you've seen the Pacific Rim trailer, there's a fucking Voltron kaiju fucking giant ass thing that shows up. Come on. Wouldn't it be awesome if they were all lined up and it just, the big, I just ejaculated in my pants. So he's, Stephen DeKnight, in his quote said, he's not saying that there's an Easter egg in Pacific Rim Uprising, but there's been some discussion about the possibility of this crossover. A lot's going to depend on what happens with the next few movies. We have Godzilla 2 that's being filmed right now. We have Uprising coming out. We still have Kong 2 to do, and then the Godzilla Kong crossover happens in 2020. And so, and there may not be a Kong 2. There may be a Kong 2. I don't know yet. But if they all do well and doing one, there's a possibility of having them all be together. Now, in the Kong Skull Island, that's Vietnam era, so the 70s.
Right.
Godzilla was today, current, and Pacific Rim is like 15 years, 20 years in the future.
Yeah.
So the timeline there makes sense. It's not like impossible.
Yeah, they gotta scoot everybody up a little bit.
But it's not impossible of it actually making happening. But are you okay with this? Is this something that makes sense, or?
Yes. When you first started talking about it, like literally Pacific Rim came out and they started talking about Godzilla and he's like, oh my God, these need to happen. And I was like, whatever. It's all the Japanese monster movie stuff. So stories. So, I guess it makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. It sounds like they're not wanting to they don't want to pull a DC and put all their eggs in a shared universe basket.
We're going to make 7 Power Ranger movies, and we're going to do this, and this in the DC universe. And that
Let's
only
do
works
one at a
for
time.
one company, and that's Marvel.
Yeah. And Star Wars.
And Lucasfilm,
Yeah, but, do one at a time and see how each one does. I mean, it's very early.
They planted seeds for Kong and Godzilla.
Kong and Godzilla obviously are,
but in the movie there's mentions and seeds and just like not blatant. You have to know both movies to get them.
Yeah.
And so if they do that with Uprising,
but there is a King Kong versus Godzilla like back in the 50s or whatever. Those corny Japanese movies. There is a King Kong versus Godzilla.
I want them to team up so bad. It'd just be so awesome. A tag team match.
I want Godzuki. Little tiny. He's so cute.
There is a smaller version, Jaeger, and the new Uprising.
There is.
So there's your.
No, he needs
All
to.
right. So I obviously am excited about it. You can tell us. We're going to do a quick review of Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. We tried to watch Flash on the app, but it just wouldn't load.
Their app was having problems.
We got about 20 minutes into it, and I didn't care enough to go back to watch it. I'm sorry. I loved the first season of Flash, but it's so bad right now.
And the next one doesn't look like it's like some luck.
Yeah.
The luckier she gets, the more unlucky everybody else gets, and it's like,
I don't know. I don't know who Berlanti gave Flash to, but they're running it into the ground.
Yeah.
It sucks. Legends was awesome. B.T. Barnum was the circus. And then
it was late 1800s.
Late 1800s. Yeah. There was a circus, and you had all these circus freaks and whatever, and they kidnapped a bunch of the legends and kind of put them on.
Billy Zane played the ringmaster.
Yeah. And then they made some comments about going to the Titanic, and Victor. The older half of Firestorm was the mechanic in the Titanic movie, and they made a comment about how we should go to the Titanic, and he's like, no, we shouldn't go there. The mechanic then that ship was terrible.
Yeah.
And, and then Billy Zane,
the person who built that ship was horrible or whatever.
Yeah. And then Billy Zane was in the episode, and he was in Titanic. It's just this is the cool thing about Legends, is that it's
tongue in cheek.
It doesn't take it takes itself seriously by taking itself not seriously.
Yeah, there's serious parts and there's funny parts.
Yeah, and it's just, it's witty and it's fun, and the banter between everybody's really good, and this episode was a lot of fun. This is episodic TV that I can get behind.
Yeah.
I don't need, I love Arrow, and we'll get into Arrow in a second. I don't need that darkness all the time.
Right.
And I don't need the Flash, episodic, nothing matters. There's no consequences.
There's
no consequences, that kind of thing. So, good episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arrow was a really good episode, I think.
Yep.
The Oliver having to deal with being a father, and his son having to deal with being a son to a father, not a mother. And
oh, by the way, his father is mayor and the Green Arrow.
And they threw some references out to the DC universe. They talked about Bruce Wayne in the episode, which just opens the door for a possibility of Bruce Wayne showing up at some point in time.
Yep.
This episode, although had some action stuff in it, wasn't a super actiony kind of typical Arrow. It was more of the Arrow emotional.
Well, it was ongoing plot building.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of stuff that happened that is leading, without spoiling anything, leading to kind of the rest of the season.
Where the rest of the season is going to go. And although these kind of episodes are needed for plot building and character development, stuff like that, to further the story in the rest of the season, sometimes these episodes can be a little hard to watch and slow and whatever.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't at all. So
no, it had plenty of stuff going on.
Yeah. So I felt it was a pretty good episode. Not the best episode. They've had 2 episodes. Premiere should be the best episode. This was a good follow-up. Let's see what the next week is like. So,
yep.
Talk about some more TV stuff. CBS is high.
Yeah.
CBS is going to renew Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, for some reason. I
guess enough people paid to watch it.
So whatever. But they're also working on a reboot of Magnum PI. So if you've been living under a rock, or you're 12 and you don't know what Magnum PI was, it was about this ex-Navy SEAL who goes and lives on a beach at some rich guy's house, and he became
he's a private
investigator, tough guy, whatever. Best mustache in TV ever.
Iconic
car. Some of the coolest shirts ever with the chest hair sticking out. He was a sex symbol in the 80s. I don't know how. The hair. But
it was a different time.
It was a different time. But it was a cool show. It was a cool procedural cop drama kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so now they're going to bring it back. They're going to have a ex-Navy SEAL again, return from Afghanistan, who becomes a private investigator. Sounds very familiar. And then he's going to be working with somebody from MI6 and that kind of stuff. There's no word if Tom Selleck's going to be in this show.
Well, he's in Blue Bloods.
Well, but he's leaving Blue Bloods.
Oh, okay.
At the end of this season.
Oh, okay.
So I don't. This is a remake for a remake's sake. I don't understand why we need this. Like, the original series is really good. It's super campy now, but it was good in the time.
Yeah.
But it's just, I just don't understand why we have 108 cop procedural things going on, and
I guess they do. Well, I don't know. Hawaii Five-0 went longer than either of us thought
Yeah.
it ever would.
Yeah.
And now they've got the Lethal Weapon
Yeah.
show, and cool. If people watch it, if it's halfway decent and people watch it, good for you. There's just so much more. We don't have time to watch the stuff that we're actually interested in, let alone watch stuff that I could really care less about.
If you want a great rant about TV and not wanting to watch bad TV, you go to Collider Movie Talk or Collider Video on YouTube. Go to TV Talk from last week, and I think it was Tuesday of last week. Josh McCouga came back from his honeymoon and talked about how he's never going to watch bad TV again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I feel about this. This is, I don't want to watch this because I don't think it's going to be very good.
Yeah.
And I don't, if you were to say an ex-Navy SEAL and an MI6 agent get together and are private investigators, that sounds interesting to me. As soon as you call it Magnum PI, now it has that stigma of that show.
Yeah, and you're just trying to grab that age group that remembers when the original one was on.
Right. And so you're trying to get that instant first 3 or 4 episode viral trending on Twitter thing.
Yeah.
And then you'll lose.
Except that the demographic you're going for probably doesn't Twitter.
Right. Right. So I don't understand. So
their kids Twitter, but they don't Twitter.
We'll keep you up. They've asked for a pilot. There's nothing set in stone yet, but if they're gonna put money into a known thing, they'll probably at least get a season out of it. It might be one of those midsummer things.
Again, go you.
You do you, CBS. For Christ's sakes. And then the last thing about TV we wanted to talk about was we finally got the final Punisher trailer.
Finally,
we've talked about how they had a big panel scheduled. They were going to show the first episode, and we were going to get the trailer and the release date and all that stuff at New York Comic Con. And that happened the weekend after the Vegas shootings.
Right.
And so they pulled out of the con.
Yep.
Again, I'm not happy about it, but I understood.
Well, now that we've seen the trailer, I mean,
I think they re-edited the trailer.
Oh, did they?
I think they did, because there was a lot less gun violence in that trailer than there was in the other trailer.
All right.
But you get the story, you get the reasoning why Frank Castle, at least how they're going to set up in this universe. It's different in the comic. They need to modernize from what the comic was, and so. But he's a special ops guy in the military. Things happen. He comes home, and they go after his family, and they make him the Punisher and stuff.
Right.
But the trailer is really good.
It was.
And we finally got a release date, which is November 17th, which is also the same weekend as Justice League.
And now that comic book thing on AMC that we just saw an ad for.
The History Comics or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a mini-series or something.
Yeah, it's like a documentary mini-series about the history of comics on AMC. So I'm going to ask this question. I know how I feel. Is this Marvel and Netflix saying a giant fuck you to DC and Warner Brothers by putting out Punisher the same weekend as Justice League?
Maybe it's a little weird though, because it's Netflix. I mean, and that stuff. What is the 17th? Is that Sunday?
It's Friday.
Friday. So that means Friday at midnight, it will drop on Netflix.
Right.
And people for like the past ones have stayed up and watched them, so they've binged the whole thing by like 8:00 in the morning or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. It's two different mediums.
Yeah. The some people online have been saying this is a giant fuck you from Marvel to DC, and I'm like, no, they're all pairing together. What's going to happen is it's going to drop at midnight on Friday. People are either going to be asleep, except for those diehards who have to watch it right now, and then they're going to go to work, and they're going to come home, and and they're going to grab the significant other, and they're going to have cocktails and dinner, and they're going to go see Justice League, and it's going to open for $140 million. And then they're going to go home, and they're going to say how cool Justice League was. They're going to get up in the morning, they're going to have morning sex and coffee and bagels. And then
rewatch Punisher.
And then they're going to watch Punisher all day Saturday. It's perfect. And then Sunday you get up and go to church or whatever you do on Sundays, football or whatever it is. But it just makes sense marketing-wise to tag it on to a big comic book weekend as it is, and that's the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, they're not going to wait until that weekend. Right. And it's...
Nothing brings the family together like a guy running around shooting people in the face. America.
And they're not going to put it out this weekend because this is Stranger Things.
Right.
And they're going to want to give that at least one more weekend, right?
Yeah, at least.
So then that would be the
11th.
Is it? No, 10th?
10th would be that Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so...
That's Veterans Day. Veterans Day weekend was kind of what I was thinking for a while, too, but that kind of...
That's a little weird,
That
though.
feels a little weird, too.
Yeah.
So if you go back a week and make it the 17th, and then people can binge it that weekend with the whole big comic book weekend, and then... Or they can watch it... Now it's on for Thanksgiving weekend. So if you're done with your family and you want to go into your room and get on your tablet and watch it, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. But I'm really looking forward to this show. Frank Castle's. I'm very much within the comic book realm. I'm very much into the vigilante without powers. I'm drawn to that a lot more. So Oliver Queen and
because unless you're bit by a radioactive spider
or come from a planet or
you're never going to be a superhero.
And I'm not rich, so although I gravitate towards Batman and Iron Man more, I'm not a millionaire, which is pretty much what you have to be those guys. So that's what it is. So what do you guys think this week? Are you fuck Magnum PI? Are you watching the Arrowverse? Are you like us and think that Last Starfighter is a great movie?
No.
Yes.
No.
Are you looking forward to Han Solo, even though the movie is called Solo? And then tell us what your review was of The Foreigner and Geostorm. Also, like I said at the beginning of the show, next week is our 1-year anniversary. We would please ask that you share everything that we post within the next week from our Facebook page, from our Twitter page, our Instagram page here on YouTube. Please share it with your friends and ask them to join us in the cult. Please ask them to come and interact with us and be part of this giant thing that we're trying to build. A couple of yahoos living in the desert talking about movies and TV shows and stuff. So share with all your friends. The way you can get a hold of us is on Facebook. We're the Pop Culture Cult. We are PopCultureCult1 on Instagram. We are at Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the page, make sure I got it right. Please subscribe to all of our channels. Like this video, leave us a comment, but also subscribe to the channel. At the end of the video, there's a subscription button. Click it and you'll subscribe, and then share it with all your friends. And we're also on the Stardust app where we can do reactions to the things that we're seeing. So if you want an early reaction to how we feel about Geostorm or The Foreigner or American Made, which might be what we see tomorrow, follow us on the Stardust app. Follow us first, and then go follow all your friends. We're almost at 200 on that one, so
woohoo!
We're getting there. Anything else?
No.
Thank you very much. Please share with all your friends. Good night now.